Okay, I had to move that little plan up there because the next thing I wanted to show you was the elevation of these objects. And you can see here I've got a ground line, and I purposely lined it up with that perspective grid that we made on that ground. So we're going to elevate this now. We're going to bring it directly down. The tallest thing is going to be my pyramid, and I'm going to make that pyramid, 7 units high. So let's actually just draw ourselves the back wall grid. And it's the same thing. I'm just going to bring down all of those 2-foot measures. And then what I'm going to do is draw a 45-degree line, or make it look like a square, whatever suits you. But even so, this should feel like a square. Drawing your 45-degree line. And this now gives you the heights now broken down into 2-foot increments. So we're going to change all the heights in here. We're going to keep our cube the same. So let's just draw our cube here. Let's just drop the cube down. There's the left edge of the cube. And there's the front face of the cube. Okay, my pyramid, it starts right here, and it starts right here. And we said that eye level was 5 feet. Now this is important, I think, because I want my pyramid to go a little bit higher. So let's make our pyramid 6 feet high. So the center of that pyramid is now going to be 6 feet high. So I'll just connect those two. And if we're concerned about line weight, this would be a thinner, less dark line than the cube in front of it. And then we're going to keep the cylinder the same. The cylinder's over here. So I'll drop it down, and we'll make that cylinder 4 units high as well. So if we're concerned about making it appear 3-dimensional, this is where you can add some tone. And so now we have a better sense that that's a cylinder there. And then we have our octagonal prism. And this one, I think we're going to make it 3 units high. It's going to be behind the cylinder, but I don't want to make it eye level because it'll just end up looking flat, and we already have something that's quite high. So let's make it 3 units high. So we can see, I can see that facet and that facet. So let's bring that down. And that facet lines up with that. And we said it was 3 units high. So it's 3 units all the way across, and we can see it hits here. So that would be a dashed line through there. But nonetheless, that facet will come through. And all of these facets come through, but because they're hidden, we really won't see them. So there they are there. So this has an impact on what it happens in perspective. I'm just going to do the cube to show you the principle behind how these are created in perspective, and then we're going to get started on our good one. So here's our cube, and not unlike the isometric grid, you locate it where it is in plan. So I know it lies in between here and here. I know it lies within this area, this region. So to find the middle plane, I just put an X through there. And instead of drawing a straight line, I actually have to go back to my vanishing point and vanish through there. And then the same thing with this guy. So I now know that the cube is positioned here. And then I can run through here. And there is the position of my cube, like so. So there is my cube in plan, in perspective. Excuse me. My dog found a can this time. Okay, so how high is this cube? Well, we go back to that measuring wall. And I'm going to trace it all the way back to that line there. And I'm going to measure up a certain height, which I know to be 2. So I just carry that measurement across and over to here, and there's my cube right back on that measuring wall. And we call this the measuring wall because we can actually measure from there, but we can't measure out in here. So what I'm going to choose to do now is elevate this little corner here. I don't know how high 2 is. I cannot measure it until I go back to that same corner. So that line there corresponds to this dot right here. And now I vanish through that point. And where it hits right here is 2 units in perspective. So now all I have to do is just draw that across, and I can take a vertical line directly above the other side of that cube there. So now you have the front face of that cube in perspective, and we can just elevate that back line over there, knowing that if we come through this point, it will all line up. And then now all I have to do is draw that line across there. So the principle of this whole little exercise was understanding that your measurements are based on actual measurements on a ground line, on the measuring wall, that translate out into perspective of that actual height over there. So we're going to start this in good, but guess what? You get to draft this time.